Welcome to this Giftworks video. My name is Steve Faithful, and in this video I want to show you a quick tip on how to use the importer to help you with batch data entry. This is for Giftworks 2010 users who want to be able to do some additional batch entry that perhaps the smart entry functionality that's included in Giftworks either doesn't support, or perhaps you just feel more comfortable doing some batch data entry in something like Microsoft Excel. And so there's a way that you can do this, and if I sign in, let me just really quick highlight the smart entry. If you're doing batch data entry and you go under additional settings and tools, you're going to see manage smart entry pages. Well, we certainly want to encourage everyone to first and foremost try to use smart entry to import your information or to enter batch data into Giftworks. If that doesn't work, or like I said, you feel more comfortable using Microsoft Excel, you might be able to use this quick little trick. If I go to a smart list, and in my database right now, I have two donors, Dave and Steve. And let me just look at one of them. I have Steve in here. Steve has some basic information like an address, some name information, and he has no donations. So let's just say I need to, or like to, enter some information for my donors. And so I'm going to go to a smart list, and I'm going to view the All Donors Smart List. One of the things I can do is I can export this smart list to a Microsoft Excel document. And once I export this list to a Microsoft Excel document, I could make changes to it, or I can make additions to it to be able to quickly import some information into Giftworks. Now, one of the things I'll need to do to start this is I'm going to first customize this list, and I'm going to check on the ID column right at the beginning. What this does is this includes the donor ID, or the Giftworks assigned donor ID, so that when I export this list to my Microsoft Excel document, I'm actually going to be able to use this ID at a later time to make sure that I update all my donors properly. So once I do that, I can go ahead and export this list. Now, I could also customize the columns to export any of the information that's here so that I could actually use it to update Giftworks. Now, I have a limited set of data that I'm using here, and I'm going to export this list, and I'm going to export it. I'm just going to call it my export and click on finish. Now I've exported this document and very specifically made sure I included the donor ID column. Now I'm going to open this up in Excel. Let me open up Excel, and I'm going to open up my export. One of the things I'm going to do first is, and I've talked about it in a prior video, is I'm going to clear the formats of this document. That just makes sure that none of the formatting, the coloring, or whatnot interferes with my Excel. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to expand some of this, and I am going to add some other information. So I'm just going to add a donation date, a donation amount, and I'm going to add an address. I'll add a email address, just as maybe another email address. And so what I'm going to do is I have a phone column, donation date, donation amount, email address. I'm going to go ahead and now that I have this document available, you notice I have some of the basic donor information. I could use this Excel spreadsheet to do a call if I want to do a create call sheets, or give this to people, maybe a call team that was going to go ahead and call through all my donors to verify that we have the latest information, or maybe just use this as in a call-a-thon to track donation information. Perhaps I had a bunch of people working and not everyone could use Giftworks. I could simply give them an Excel spreadsheet with this information, allow them to go in, and I'm going to just enter some basic phone number information, put a donation date, 11/1/09, and I'll put an amount of $100 in, an email address, steve@mr.com, and it turned it into a hyperlink. And I'm going to put this one in as well, 1313. I'm going to say 11/2/09, donation amount $200, and dave@mr.com. And so, so what I have is this information, and I can then go ahead, and once I save this, now so I've exported a document. I made sure I exported a smart list. I made sure I include the donor ID. I'm appending or adding some information to this Excel document, so that now I can go ahead back to Giftworks, and I'm going to go ahead in settings. I'm going to go to database and maintenance, import and export data, import a file. And I'm going to go find my import file, my export. that now I'm going to be using as an import. And you notice I see this other information that I want to bring into Giftworks. I'm going to click on Next. One of the key things I want to make sure I do is down here, I want to choose the fields. Because I'm using Giftworks 2010, I have access to this option. I'm going to choose my import field, which is ID, which does match up to the Giftworks donor ID. So I want to make sure I match those together. And then I'm going to simply say ignore the row of import data. I'm expecting that every one of these donors will have a match. Click on Next. And what I'm going to do is I can ignore this ID. I can ignore the display. I'm only going to map the information that I want to add, which is the phone. So I'm going to go down to donor phone, and I'm going to say go to phone number. I'll just say home phone. I'm going to say donation 1 date, donation 1 amount, and then I'm going to also add an email address and phone email. I'm going to say email address 1. And so now simply, because I've set up my Excel spreadsheet, I've chosen to update existing donors based on the donor ID that I exported earlier, and I've mapped some new fields. I can then go ahead and test this import. Complete the import. It looks slightly cryptic because I don't have donor names, I just have their IDs. Click on Done. Go back to my donor dashboard. Now I can see Steve. He has his email address, the phone number's been added, and I have a donation for Steve. So you'll see, and then I have also the information for Dave as well. And so you'll see I've used an exported smart list in combination with the new features that's available within the Giftworks import process, that is the updating existing donors based on the donor ID. I've combined them to build myself somewhat of a batch entry that if some reason the smart entry pages of Giftworks 2010 don't suffice, that I've built my own. And there's a number of things you can do. You could design your export, you can design call sheets, or however you want to do it. You could export this to Microsoft Access, or at least export it to Excel, then import it into Access if you felt more comfortable using it in Access. So there's a number of different ways that you could do it, and then guarantee that when you import it back into Giftworks, you're going to be updating the correct donor. So that's a little tip on how you can use some of the features that we have in Giftworks together to accomplish some of the things you may need to do as part of your mission. So thanks for watching.